Good morning, everybody. Eddie Smalls, aka Manifest Man, here on this bright, early Saturday morning. I don't know how many of you caught hold to it, but I did a video earlier this morning about 9:30. That's because yesterday I didn't get a chance to do number 5. That's because, well, there was some computer and Wi-Fi glitches. I don't know what happened to Wi-Fi, just went haywire yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to do number 5 of 62. So I did it earlier this morning, so you have to look for that one. And number 6 is now. And the topic today, right now, is reinvention of self. Yes, self reinvention is powerful. Now, I'm talking about these these things, these topics, because it's based on a midlife crisis I experienced at age 33. Now, I don't know where you are today or what you are doing. People tend to have Saturdays as sacred. I mean, I don't know, you're doing a cookout, or maybe some of you like me. I'm gonna be going to a job at 1 o'clock. So I can remember when people didn't have to work on a job one time on weekends, but those days are over. But reinvention of self is important because you can experience that many times in your life. Yes, more than once. Some people, well, they never experience it because of fear of change. Now, remember now, I'm doing these the series as it is because 63, as a numerologist told me, is a number that talks about completion of a cycle, humanitarianism, home, family, and even purpose. And as I was going through my life, I was always trying to find out what my purpose was. Why was I here? What was I more or less about? So I've had the privilege of reinventing myself more than once. Now, reinvention is just what it says. You are something and you invent another self, some aspect of your life. It's generally professionalism, or it could be just a movement or an intention, something you decide you want to do. Now, I experienced a midlife crisis that forced me to do a lot of thinking at 33. And the experience I went through took me into a reinvention of myself. Now, reinvention is this: you are something and then you become something else. Now, it can happen by default or it can happen on purpose. I prefer on purpose, but I've done it by default here and there. After I experienced this back problem at 33, I mean, 27, and 6 years of being miserable on the job, and I needed my body right, but and I didn't like painkillers and muscle relaxers, but I had to have them, and I was smelling like Ben Gay and icy hot, and that added to the idea that I was an old man. I'm walking out. So I wanted to reinvent myself as healed. Now, I don't know if that's reinvention kind of way, but I went to people that could help me. Because not only did I have surgery, I wanted to get rid of the pills that I had to take. I mean, I was on Flexeril and painkillers, but I wanted to heal. I know I couldn't get my body perfect like it was once before I injured it, but I talked to people who were healers, naturopathic people. So I started understanding, wow, there's some people out here with some powerful skills. And see, a lot of these people ended up reinventing themselves from their former professions and going into these fields. I mean, I on my previous video, I believe I talked about this morning about me approaching a life coach. Maybe that was, I don't know. Anyway, I'm talking about it now. A life coach changed my life. And I'm going, you talk to people and they pay you. Really? And they did. She made a pretty good salary. Talking to CEOs of corporations, pastors of churches, all types of professionals. And I couldn't understand. I said, why in the world? But then she talked to me. I asked her, I mean, you get paid to talk to people. She said, yes. She said, well, what's on your mind? I said, well, goodness, that sounds great because I talk too much. I couldn't imagine getting paid to talk. I mean, I've gotten a couple of paychecks for speaking engagements, whatever, but people tell me I talk too much. They do, she asked. I said, yes. She said, okay. What do you think? I said, well, I think I talk too much. Do you? Yes, I must do. I talk a lot. Don't I sound like it? She says, Ed, I mean, I'm not going to judge you. I just think you talk a lot. There's a difference between talking a lot and talking too much. See, you got to understand there's something you're trying to say, and the universe is trying to help you do it. You just haven't found the right tribe, the right group of people to talk to. When you do that, you'll have alignment and synchronization, and you'll feel better by talking a lot. I said, what in the world? Now, that was a revelation to me. This lady made me feel so great about my ability to talk, because that's what she was saying, your ability to talk. Not that you talk too much or got a big mouth. I'm going, whoa. She said, there are people all across the world that get paid to talk. Now, you look at some of them, do you think they're worrying about they talk too much? They have found the persons they need to talk to, that they will move to talk to, based on their purpose. You find yours, your life will change. Welcome, people, to me becoming Manifest Man. I didn't plan this. It's part of my reinvention. It's one of many reinventions I've experienced in my life. See, there was a time when I was unemployed. I was unemployed for 2 years one time. I mean, and they were talking about a recession. Nobody was hiring. Going, what in the world? I had to go down to the unemployment office, go and look through these files they have for trying to find a job. Well, somebody looked at the fact that I ran a youth ministry when I was part of a youth ministry when I was in my early 20s. And I was 12 years a youth counselor one time. They said, well, there's some skills there. I said, yeah. He said, well, there's a position for a house parent. A house parent? What's that? And so I read it. I say, it's a special type of youth counselor. You live with children and help them develop their self-esteem and their life skills. And I'm going, what in the world? So, okay. So here I am. I became a house parent. Not only did I become a house parent, I was good at it. In fact, some of the best work I did was as a house parent. I mean, I had to cook for these children, teach them about how to keep children. I lived there 2 weeks out the month. I worked a week and I was off a week. They were trying to, have counselors come in and you teach these children life skills. These were kids that were separated from their families. Now, I never knew such a position was even available. But this is why I built up my self-esteem, because I got Staff of the Year awards, 2 of them, for doing this type of work. I go, wow. All I was doing was teaching kids what I already knew. I'd pull out a comic book and teach them what I learned about a comic book. I pulled out National Geographic and said, look at these fantastic pictures and look at these stories and all these words in these magazines. I'd have them get up and give speeches. We had to go to church. I taught them how to get their homework laid down. I taught them how to cook. Oh, yes. Some of these kids were 8 to 13 years old, and there was a group, that was like 15 to 20. But both groups, I found out skills I didn't know I had. So that was a house parent. But another time I was unemployed again. There was a big recession somewhere like what, 2004, right after the big millennium switch over. I was out of work. I mean, 2004 was tough. 2003 through 2004, goodness gracious, come on. Somebody's got to hire. Well, I got a job as a dishwasher. I said, oh my God, I must really be desperate. Instead of taking that, I finally said, well, no, 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 Eddie, no, that's the wrong attitude. Be happy and blessed that somebody hired you. So I was a dishwasher in a kitchen. And I'm telling you, that was one grueling job. You come in at 10:45 and you see nothing but pots and pans from breakfast that have been sitting there since about 8 or 9 o'clock. And I was supposed to clean them and things and have them ready by 12 o'clock. I'm like, what in the world? So I had to come up with a system because they wanted those things by 12. We need those plates, we need those pots, we need them all clean. And think about this now, people. Grits in a pan and pots that's been sitting there. Bacon grease, eggs. That's been there for about 3 hours, and now I got to clean all these things up and have them ready by 12 o'clock. I clock in at 11. I said, can I clock in early? No, 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 no. We don't want you doing that now. We want you to work your 11 to 8 shift. They want me finished by 8 o'clock. So here I am doing that. Now, I got good at washing dishes, I promise you, because I was doing my job. I came up with a system where I can get the pans soaking, the pots soaking, and the plates soaking in hot water, hot soapy water, and then I prioritize which ones I can move at a time, and I move them and get them cleaned, and then they had this big dishwasher, this big Hobart where you can run them through there. And I would manage to get all those pots clean, put them on the rack, and they dripping, drying, and they were ready by 12 o'clock, and the people went, wow, you were good at this. Well, I washed enough dishes in my mama's kitchen when I was a kid, about 5 and 6 years old. Believe it or not, yes. I was a mama's boy, so I did know something about a kitchen. But the positive attitude I had about washing dishes changed my life, and that's how I got to reinvent it, because I'm talking about a reinvention, how you reinvent yourself. This was by default. I didn't plan this, but there was a chef that left that place where I was and went to another place. He had my number. He called me, Eddie, I saw you washing dishes, and you have a system, and you're good at that. I need you here with me. How would you like to be my sous chef? I say, sous chef? Now, this guy was a chef. He was an executive chef. I say, well, I mean, I've cooked, but I've never been a chef. He say, all the chef is somebody that trains and learns how to cook. Are you willing to learn? I say, well, yes. Would you like to be my sous chef? I say, well, if that'll get me out of this dishwashing room, yes. He said, well, you'll be washing dishes still, but you won't be doing, that won't be your primary job. You'll be teaching some people how to wash dishes, but because you're going to be cooking food. Sir, whatever you're offering, I'm ready for it. I would have done anything to get out of that kitchen. So a necessity. In fact, they say necessity is the mother of invention. Yes. That's how I became a sous chef. And I'm telling you, for 6 years, I did. If you don't understand what a sous chef's responsibility is, there's a show, there's a guy named Gordon Ramsay, and there's a guy named Bobby Flay. If you watch anything like the Food Channel, those are executive chefs. Executive chefs run the entire kitchen. Sous chef is the person right under there. So I was running a kitchen. I was expected to run a kitchen when this executive chef wasn't there. So I had a lot of learning to do. And I went and I did research. I went on the internet. I went and got books. I bought The Joy of Cooking. I went and researched what kind of outfits to wear. I did it up. And for 6 years, I had a grand time being a sous chef.